into again. There's no pushovers. There's maybe like one or two, like one probably at the most team that's like an easier win per group. But that still means that there's 3 or 4 other matches you have to win that are going to not be pretty. So it's gonna be it's this entire tournament's a toss up in the end of the day.
Yeah, I very, very much agree. So let's get to this. Let's start discussing who we think our teams are going to be on our power rankings here. So we will send this out over on our socials afterwards, so you can make your own tier list on power rankings as well. For the time being, we do have Honkai in here at the last spot because they are the team projected to make it in through the SendouQ leaderboard. So with this, we're going to make the assumption that they do make it through. So let's start things off with who we think are going to be at the very bottom.
Can I automatically just put Honkai for not accepting their bid yet?
they're gonna get swept by checking in.
Checking win too.
Checking win the check-in button.
Yeah, defeated by the check-in button. Yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be. I feel like what are we denominating here? Top 8, top 4, and then second and first. Okay.
Yeah. So there's 4 teams going in the bottom. So here are my 2 immediate teams that I'm thinking for top 12. Other than Honkai, one is going to be Artifice. They're the rookie team. It makes the most sense. As much as I want to believe in I love the underdog story. I'm all about underdog stories. I made Reflux. I have to cheer for the underdogs. That's all I got. But it's such a stacked bracket. They got in here by a couple of points. It's one of those things where they're gonna be here for just to make some upsets, be a wild card, but that's basically it. The other team, and this is a thing where this is the only team in the confirmed 10 we didn't really talk about them today, is Candon. We haven't said anything about Candon because we've been so focused on these other teams. And I think that just speaks volumes to the level that everyone is playing at. And Candon just potentially hasn't been making as many waves as we're expecting from a team in this tournament.
Look, for me, I would say, just looking at, let me find Candon recently. I think the question for Candon in this tournament is whether or not Silver is going to be the edge they need to really make a run. They have been playing with Punchy. They've been playing with Ritu a lot prior to Punchy. And Silver is kind of a newer addition. Like you were saying, Candon is an undeniably very high level European team. But like you don't just need to be high level, you have to be top level and then like top level beyond that to really make runs in this tournament. And they have taken losses to teams that would be contenders in this event. Teams like Vanguard, teams like a Synapse Zenith that could pick up. So I would personally put them at around top 8, but I think it's definitely reasonable to say like they just haven't been making enough waves. Right.
I've been trying to figure out my top 8. I think top 12. I think in that top 12 side, Honkai loses the check-in is obviously there, but I feel like you know the 2 rookie teams. I think Parasail and Artifice. I feel like with they are a huge wild card. I think they could easily prove us wrong, but I think when you look at the if you look at the teams around them, it might be a complete struggle bus for the group. So I wouldn't be. So that's I'm putting for sure Honkai, supposedly, and then Artifice and Parasail in that top 12. I feel like your toss up between top 8, to round out that slot, to me is gonna be 2 teams. It's actually, I think Candon will easily secure top 8. It's kind of a toss up. Believe it or not, my toss up is gonna either be Moonlight, believe it or not, or it's gonna be Hypernova on that top 12. That's kind of where I place them there. And I think it's just because of the quality of the teams in play. I'm actually really sold on Healthy Diet Food Groups at that top 8 slot.
I respect the Healthy Diet Food Groups pick. I don't think Moonlight's gonna flub that hard that they're gonna make top 12. I think I see them getting at least top 8. In my book, Moonlight's gonna make a decent run. But that's just it's. I do agree. Awesome. Parasail. It's one of those Parasail. I'd love to see them make top 8. I'd love to see them get higher. Just having a rookie in their team again. Me knowing Lemon personally, he's a big bias. But again, getting a win is still gonna end you up in top 12. Like it's which of these teams are going to get multiple wins and actually make a run. So it does make sense to put our rookie teams like Artifice and Parasail in the top 12.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the Artifice for sure. Parasail, I believe, could be one of those bubble teams that could sneak into top 8. But as of right now, I just don't see the results. So I can agree with top 12 there.
Yeah.
One thing about Parasail.
I wanted to add in, this is ordered, so you guys do need to order it. So like, if Honkai is 12, we got who's 11th?
Sorry. All right, CKK. Make things harder for us like that.
Yeah, make it harder for us. All right,
I want to think about that.
I was like, we're already gonna have to hurt enough feelings by putting another team in top 12, let alone rank the teams. And we have to tell somebody, yeah, you're getting last.
I will. As part of the 4 here, I like to abstain from this whole from the ranking system, if only because we don't know what the groups are yet. But I do agree that
yeah, it does make it harder because it is like, it's hard to say if a team will get 12th if they end up in a group with another team we think we're gonna get that's gonna get 11th, because obviously one of them's gonna get a free boost.
Okay, top 12 doesn't have to be ordered, but the other ones definitely do.
Oh yeah, we know top 4 is going to have to be ordered.
That would be more fair.
That's obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the question though: is what's our last team in top 12? Because I feel like these 3 teams fairly obvious because they're the teams that have the least experience. One of them isn't even checked in yet. But after that point, it is like all of these. I feel these last 9 teams realistically have an argument to make top 4.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about. I mean, true. Like even with HCFG, who I think is like will have one of the roughest runs. Like they have made top 4 before. Like it's not like completely outside the realm of possibility. I think it is between Candon and HDFG for the other top 12 spot. So I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you exactly who I think it's gonna be. Maybe Candon, but like Silver is probably the best active Stamper player in Europe. That's just my thought. But like, so I would say maybe put them at the top of top 12, but like they also could win sets. Maybe HDFG. They haven't been playing as well recently, so like in my mind, I think HDFG might be the highest top 12 team. But like it's really hard to say with how close some of these teams are.
Well, are you guys really sold on? Are you guys
Candon for top 12?
Are you guys really sold on Hypernova being a top 8 team though?
Yeah.
It's definitely a bias.
I'm not one of those. I'm not one of them.
I think Hypernova is gonna surprise us. I'm a Henlo, Synapse, Dat Kid, Lexi enjoyer. I mean, like, what can I say? I mean, I think my issue is that I don't know enough about Candon. And so everything I know about Candon is they are like Vanguard Junior. They are Vanguard, but with less. They are Vanguard with slightly worse results.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Yeah. I look at Candon a lot of the times, and I just see like that secondary Cinderella team that they're just like, oh, there's an opportunity, but then they get gatekept by someone else and end up just a bit short on where we would think they should end up be.
That's really funny because I am a somewhat believer in Candon, but that's also from results of somewhat around the past. Again, I'm gonna have to use results as my base there. They also finished 3rd in their respective season 6 finale. Of course, it isn't top 4, but it's still really good results at the end of the day. I'm a firm believer that I think Canon could not, I shouldn't say easily has burned me in the past. But I think Canon, I feel like, is a team that is in the top 8 discussion. But then again, it goes back to where do I put them in my top 12? That my thought is it could have been Moonlight, it could have been Hypernova. But if you guys are sold, I'm like, I could see Canon there. I'm just a firm believer Canon could surprise.
I will concede. I don't think Moonlight is going to flub that hard, make top 12. I think, like, I will concede Hypernova. I could see Candon outplaying Hypernova. But like, yeah, like Healthy Die Food Groups, I'm putting them at least in the top 8. So yeah, Hypernova or Candon for me for the last spot in top 12.
I don't even know if Healthy Diet Food Groups is going to even get much farther than top 8. Like, if anything, I would say maybe 10, or not 10, but maybe a 7th place I could see from Healthy Diet Food Groups. But I have a hard time personally just trying to think of them, especially with how stacked everyone else is right now. Healthy Diet Food Groups, that they are that Cinderella team. They're one of those teams that could make a run, but when they don't, they just flop. Especially when they most.
Yeah. I could see the argument for that. I can see the argument for that, to be honest.
Yeah, I because they're definitely not going to, like, I'm on the same page as Vapor. I see Healthy Diet Food Groups getting 8th, maybe 7th. Like, I don't see it going further than that, because even if they're having a good run, there is just a brick wall at the end of the road. Looking at some of these teams here, you know, they've showed us that they made the upset. They got into top 4 in a previous SendouQ season, but can they do it a second time?
I think that's actually a pretty fair point, but that's also the reason why I put them at that top 8 position. I don't think they were going to make top 4 in it. I don't think Lightning's going to strike twice for a Healthy Diet Food Group.
All right, what are we? Sorry, you finished.
No, I was kind of wrapping up my thoughts. Like, I could see the argument for Healthy Diet Food Groups potentially also going to that top 12 position. I think they're just good enough to be top 8, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere higher than like 6th or 5th.
So it seems like our consensus is either Hypernova or Candon for top 12.
I can see Candon.
I would say Candon as well, personally.
I think that's. I had originally said Candon when I first brought it up, and then everyone fought back on it. But now it seems like it's the pick. Which, I mean, like, honestly, like, I do think Candon could do better than Hypernova, but I am a Hypernova believer, so I'm kind of tempted to put them in the top 8.
It's funny, that's going to be our controversy throughout the night. Candon or Hypernova for top 12. Watch as they both just make top 8, and then I'm like, okay, never mind.
Having
the fact that we're struggling
at the bottom of the bracket is kind of funny.
Yeah, the fact that we're struggling over like top 12 so much is just proof of how close this tournament is. Like, it really,
literally,
we could make predictions, and like the whole top 8 will be wrong, and it's like, well, we tried. I mean, it's just such a stacked event. It's kind of hard to tell how it's going to get out. I mean, like, we're talking about being like, oh yeah, Candon, like one of the best, like really consistent, like one of the best, like real teams in Europe is like maybe top 12. It's like,
no, I'm like, you guys aren't believing in Candon hard enough over there. I'm a Candon believer, but I also see the believers in Hypernova, and I'm not one of them. So.
Well, it's like I'm not like
the margins.
I'm not a Candon disbeliever. There's just too many other teams that I believe in. There's not enough wiggle room right now. And so when I'm trying to find places to put people, Candon just hasn't done it for me recently. And so I like, again, they can prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong. I want close sets this weekend, but it's, you know, it's for the sake of having to give them a number, it's going to be 9th place.
But also the fact that we're having the discussion about the difference between 9th and 8th, it really does illustrate, as Fern mentioned, like how I feel like how close this tournament could really get.
Yeah.
And looking over at 8th place, I would say this is an easy Healthy Diet Food Groups choice for me.
Easily.
Like, I think Hypernova is going to do go or has a better opportunity to do better than healthy diet food groups.
I mean,
I'll
with
say
these
one-
groups, probably not. Hypernova's in the death group.
In general, like
I feel this is the one I will easily agree with you, Vapor. I know we hammered it home that hey, healthy diet food groups was on a heater. I literally also just said like about 5 minutes ago. I don't think lightning's gonna strike twice in a Cinderella run. It's not the clock's gonna strike the 11th hour for healthy diet food groups. And I want to going back to that season 6 finale where they basically finished second in a group that featured PXG, Candid, Moonlight, Vacation, and Honkai. Where so it's like nobody expected healthy diet food groups to really get the 4-1 they got to finish second. I think the teams like Moonlight. I'm still a firm believer in Candid, obviously, but Moonlight and others, I think they are gonna be a step above. I don't think I'm with you on this one here, Vapor. I think healthy diet food groups the Lightning's not gonna strike twice for that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
think.
From this point on, the top 8 gets really hard because you're looking at, in my mind, the teams likely to get shut out of top 4 are Moonlight and Vanguard. Just looking at who's this other one?
But
That's unanimously. That's kind of me. Yeah.
I unfortunately agree. I want to see both of these teams do very well in this event.
Yeah.
I want to see both of them make top 4. But if anything, I can only see one, and that one I would honestly say is Vanguard.
You see, I don't. Me personally, I'm a believer in one of them making top 4. I don't believe enough in Milky Way.
You don't.
I haven't seen enough from Milky Way recently to feel like they're going to beat out both Vanguard and Moonlight. That's just a me thing though.
Okay.
There was a question, maybe Moonlight just wants it more. Like they've been getting beat down in these SQ finales like enough. Maybe like I can see them just wanting the win more than like Ice, who has been pulled out of retirement in the last like 6 months, Jared and Q, who are still kind of back from a break, Bran, who is like not a very consistent, not playing the game like all the time. Like I think like these Vanguard is still a relatively young top team. Like I can definitely see both of them getting an upset. I think you still have to respect Milky Way just off of player quality.
I'm not saying Milky Way. For me, it's the recency. It's because, as you said, Ice coming out of retirement, Jared and Q coming back from a long extended break for reasons, and it's like are they still on their A game, and they're going to be on their A game together as that group specifically, versus Vanguard and Moonlight, who have been on that consistent grind with each other, and that's why, like, for me, like it's hard because Vanguard and Moonlight are fairly inconsistent. They do have a lot of results that leave a little bit to be desired, but I think when it comes down to it, I think one of them is going to clutch at the top 4 spot. But genuinely, I can't really decide between the two of them who I think is going to take it.
I can see the argument for not having Milky Way, especially when you factor in recency bias, because it's going to be what shows up the day of. Like we obviously can't factor in like really previous results, even with reputation in mind. I could see that argument for Milky Way, but then you'd have to go on the record. I think you said Vanguard, if I'm not mistaken, Hammy would be the team to crack top 4. Was that?
It's one of those. I don't know Vanguard well enough as a team. But also, French people are just better at video games.
They kind of are.
So, like,
I mean, yeah.
Straight up, every esport I'm into is just dominated by the French players. So I almost kind of have that bias. Like, as much as I just spent a weekend hanging out with people from Moonlight, like it's competition's tough. I mean, I think like because Vanguard is inconsistent. from what I've been looking at in the results, they have some bad results, but that inconsistency can also mean that they could have a really good day. So yeah.
Like, yeah, they definitely could have a really good day. They've kind of been farming EU weeklies recently, and like even outs, like they have first golden paddling through 20 and first in paddling through 19. They have first in a Ghost Up Rush. They have first in 2 Triton Cups in a row. And even outside of those events, like second Barnacle Bash 6, second 4v4 Sundays, third in the Zone 43. Like have been relatively consistent at making podiums recently. They are very high level players. I think one of the things they have Reiki in over Warlock and over Erza. I've heard mixed opinions on Reiki, but in my opinion, probably the second or one of the best active Stamper players in Europe. Like I think you have to say active because Zerazi is always looming on the horizon. But like I mean, he is a very good player. Like these are, I mean, Miki, like whether he's going to be on S Blast or he's going to be on Rapid, very like one of the best blasters in Europe. You kind of have to respect them a lot. Like I can definitely see them having a good day, like going off of momentum they have recently and making top 4. Like I wouldn't be opposed to putting that down.
Yeah, I am just scrolling through results here, and I'm still going like before May here, like start of May. We have podium finishes, Triton Cup 102 into Zone 43. That was a pickup. Paddling pool 319. Swimmer sink was a pickup. Triton Cup 103. Second place in the 4v4 Sundays on a Saturday. First 8-bit bullets. First Ghost Type Rush Shiny Edition. Like sure, those might be smaller events, but that still doesn't overtop other events like Golden Paddling Pool 320. Barnacle Bash 6, they got second. This most recent paddling pool yesterday, they got first overall. Like I just with recency, looking at Vanguard, I don't see a way they miss or they flop and get top 8.
Yeah, I fully agree there.
I definitely I can see the case where I think if you look at the name branding for Milky Way's players, like you have a lot of players that have worked off of like Starburst and others, and but I feel like I can see the case. I can give you the guys the case, especially with the recency thing. I feel like as much as I like to say, and also more focused to me here. We all talked about how Momocon went undefeated. Moonlight went undefeated in Momocon. I think that's all. There was also you had to consider the level of competition that Moonlight had played against at that point in time. It should dropping 1 or 2 games almost is expectation. Going undefeated is even better. But who else do you factor in? And we already also know some previous stories. Moonlight obviously the fan favorite. I think when you tune in on Saturday and Moonlight does play, you're gonna get a lot of people hoping that Moonlight makes top 4. But when you compare it against the quality of the other competition amongst the mix, I think we all can definitely agree Moonlight can be there. I can definitely see the case for Vanguard going up to that top 4. Probably not any better than top 4. I don't think they're gonna I don't think they're gonna be cracking first or second. Right. I can see that argument.
Yeah, One thing with current groups, we might get a Silver versus Reiki set, which is going to be fun to watch for best Stamper in France.
Also, what I was going to bring up too is because there's a lot of arguments for Moonlight for me personally. Like there's, like I brought up earlier, they just spent multiple days in person hanging out as a team. Like the morale is going to be at an all-time high. The camaraderie, like their ability to work together and play together. But it's one of those things where they have all of these other aspects of their team that nobody else in the SendouQ final has. But I have to admit that these other aspects aren't something that will make them win against some of these teams.
Right.
Like being able to go to hanging out together in person, it can really help you out, but not against some of the world's best.
I mean,
I'll go on the record real quick. I'm a Moonlight believer, just like a lot of the other people around the Splatoon community. You know the chance. I think I heard you at one point during the grand finals. There, Hammy, was we're just the Moonlight chance. Everybody wants to see the Moonlight succeed. I want to see this team succeed, but we want to be realistic. I don't. It's gonna be a very tough. It's gonna be really tough for them to escape out of group stages.
I mean, for me, Moonlight has like a lot of intangibles. Like they're the fan favorite. I think everybody wants to see them win. Like they have fantastic team mental. They have fantastic team energy. They have cohesion that they built up over like at this point kind of years of playing together. The problem, those intangibles do not include that many wins. They have no online wins since Battle for BIPOC. They just kind of don't have the hardware to compete against like these legacy like gods of the game pickups that we have that are probably going to be contending for top spots. So like it's kind of hard for me to say, yeah, they're going to beat, like maybe like in an edge case, we all want to believe, but I feel like it's hard to say like, yeah, they're going to beat these teams. Like that's just not something you can say.
Yeah, realistically, we want half of these teams to win, but the power ranking is look at the facts. Who's going to win?
Yeah.
I'm putting Moonlight right there, like in the top 8 above. I'm already forgetting the Hypernova and Diet Food groups. Like that just makes sense. Like that is, it's where they probably belong.
Wait till 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 6th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were arguing. Some of you are arguing for Milky Way to be top 4, so I don't think they're going to go above Milky Way. I was the one who bargained for Vanguard to be top 4 instead of Milky Way. So.
I at one point before bold predictions, I did change it at last one with Metro. I had Milky Way winning the entire thing, but I had to think about it too. Like
I don't know.
I think that would have been a little too bold, but I think the more bolder pick would have been Metro at that point. But yeah, no, Milky Way I could see that one I wasn't gonna hang on to. I think that could be, I could see Milky Way making top 4. At the same time, if you're factory recency bias, I think top 8 is a pretty fine spot. But I genuinely wouldn't be, I'll say this much, don't be surprised if they make it to top cut.
Yeah,
Milky Way,
Milky Way is just one of those teams where it's like it's been so long since we've seen these players actually play in an event, and especially together. How long has it been since we seen these players play together? So I could see them finishing at number 1, but they could also flop and fall right below Caden.
Yeah. I think the top 6 of this tournament is incredibly close, or at least like really hard to predict. Even if it might not be incredibly close on the day. Like it's kind of like all these players are like just all of them have mostly a laundry list of trophies, and it's like if one of the team has a pop-up day, they could conceivably win the tournament. But like just looking at results, I think there are clear favorites.
Definitely agree with that. And now it comes to the teams that we have all had our own opinions on who's going to win.
Now, I lied earlier. Vapor, I told you FT Win was going to get 4th. They're going to get 3rd.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Right. Sorry, you can go.
I was gonna say, like I'm looking at like FT Win versus Vanguard. I do think that they'll have the upper edge. I said the French players are just better, but like the longevity of FT Win, like the legacy and how much they've accomplished over the years. Like as much as we've looked a lot at recency bias for a lot of things, I think FT Win do have the recent results, and they also just have the historical results. So I think that ultimately does give them the edge, but I'm not giving them anything else in 3rd.
You think they're gonna lose to to Metro or Snails?
Oh, they're gonna lose to Snails. Snails? Listen, my bold prediction was Metro winning, but I also can't I'm not even sure if in good faith I can put Metro as the number 1 here. I think I have to go for Snails for number 1.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, this last bit, as much as talking about how hard it is, I'm putting Snails number 1, Metro number 2, as much as they're my prediction. May they rest in peace, and then FT Win, then Vanguard.
Fern,
let
Fern, you go.
me talk about FT1 a little bit. I think you have to talk about the like you can talk about the legacy players. I
Mhm.
think it might be on Bursty a little bit to play up to, like, we've seen Biscuit and Kyo have been winning like all kinds of tournaments. I think it's a little bit on Bursty to like show that he is like at the same level that Kyo is still. Although I think part of the thing is that these three players have a young player with them, and in my mind, Sam is kind of the next legendary top player. Like, Sam, just some stats. He's won the last three in the zones. He's won Black Lotus Cup. He won DivX. He hasn't missed a podium since August of last year. He hasn't missed a top four since February of last year. And since he's a young top player, I'm inclined to believe that this is all of his tournaments, but it might be not all. On SendouQ, Sam has zero recorded tournaments outside of top 8. He has never missed a top 8 in his life. Like, he is like, if you've seen us, like, he has a montage. If you've seen Simply, he is like kind of a generational talent. Like, I think he's insanely good. Like, if he is playing well, and if Kyo is playing well for the rest of them, I can see them being like a Grands team. But also, I want Metro to win. So,
but hey, if FT win make third, that's still a podium. The streak will still continue.
True.
So I'm within reason. They get third place. Sam keeps the podiums. FT win still makes third. I'm never wrong.
And not even just podium, just looking through Sam's results here on SendouQ. The last time they got bronze was November of 24. Early November of 24. So
he hasn't missed a grand
since then, like, we are going on half a year where Sam has either placed first or second on playing with other legends as well. Like, we're talking about Theo, probably one of the best players we will ever see in the North American scene. Like, we're talking about Bursty, who also has played on the stage as well. I don't remember Roth by name, but they are not.
Biscuit.
That's Biscuit. Okay, but yeah. Biscuit. He is a very strong player as well. So I really don't think they get third. I see a second place in their sight.
I'm being real with y'all. I think depending on the groups, obviously, I expect top two to be. It's going to be Snails and FT win. It's going to be a similar rematch to season 6. If you're gonna have to pick odd one out, I want to be a believer in Metro. I want them to win the entire thing especially with my bold predictions. The question is, can they face up against Snails or FT win on whatever bracket they end up placing, assuming they make it to that top 4? I feel like that's gonna be where I'm gonna have a hard time believing in that. But it's gonna ultimately come down to groups placement and bracket placements at the end of the day. But I think Metro probably is. I don't see a world where FT win finishes worse than second.
See,
can we put two teams in
I
second?
went first. I went first so I could give you guys the copium before all three gave logical arguments as to why FT win takes first or second. Now we have something to shift around.
Mm-hmm. But I do think Metro is a really good team. I think all of these teams here are grouped into thirds with each other.
Again, we've kind of agreed that any one of the top 6 could realistically win this entire tournament.
Yeah,
right.
But I think we all agree that they're still objectively one step behind those top 3 teams.
Exactly.
Right. I think anyone in the top 3 could win the tournament. Like,
agree.
What, you guys don't believe in Artifice?
I want to believe in Artifice.
We're gonna pump the brakes on that one, Hammy.
Yeah.
I do think Artifice can get an upset somewhere. I do think Artifice can.
I think I do. Okay, they're kind of in the group of death. If they stay in the group of death, I don't know. If they don't, I think they take a SendouQ. But anyway,
Who's gonna win it all then?
okay.
But
Like, let me talk about Gray's team. Of course, Gray, perennial tournament winning player. Like, just like player wise, okay, it's like Gray, probably the best player in Europe. In my mind, one of the three best backline players in Europe. Yeti, has kind of continued to improve and show that he's a good player. He's like a really strong mechanical player. And you have the import player Jordan, the highest X-ranked player of all time, at least in the West. Like, they kind of just ooze firepower. And like, speaking about Jordan, because like I think he is kind of in his comp resurgence. Jordan has played 11 4v4 tournaments in the SendouQ era. How many of those do you think he's won?
7?
Too many.
At
So
least?
you're gonna tell us
10.
11.
He's won 10.
holy
10 of 11. He has not lost a tournament since June 23rd of last year. Like, he has a 91% win rate in the SendouQ era. Like, he's won 10 of the last 10 tournaments he's played. He is kind of him. And like stacking up against the other two or three insane players in this tournament, like in this team, it's really hard to say anyone is better than them. I think it might come down to whether or not Yeti is like really a proven top level player enough to take down a core as strong as Metro or a core as strong as FT Win, where everyone on those teams is like, oh, they're one of the best players in the West. But still, it's Snails. Like, it's the Gray team. Like, you look at them and they're like, they're making grands. Like, so yeah,
But who
they're my
wins it
team to
all?
win.
You think Snails?
I think so. Yes. I don't know if I would put a bunch of money on it, but they are, in my mind, they have won the last 4 tournaments they entered, like, as a group together.
I'm
Like,
gonna
in those tournaments, they beat Vanguard, they beat Moonlight, they beat a Kyo pickup that was basically FT Win, but Ice is playing instead of Versty, and like those are relatively comparable players. Like, they beat Hypernova, but like with a different player or two. Like, I don't know. I think they're kind of they just win tournaments that they enter. Like, they have lost to Vanguard, they have cracks, but like when it matters, they just win.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Like I said, when we saw exactly the match you talked about, where Vanguard did take that win in winners finals, and then when it matters, the pickups that Gray plays on, in this case Snails, win. They continue to win those matches. You can load up the Sendo profile for any of those players, and it's number one after number one after number one after number one. And as much as, like, I mean, I've been jokingly bashing an FT Win all day. FT Win, they're gonna go far. They're gonna go the distance. But this isn't like, oh, Snails sweeps FT Win GG. No, it's gonna be close. They're gonna fight back. But the story at the end of the day is that Snails is going to clutch it out. They always find the way to seal the deal, and they're going to do it here in the Season 7 SendouQ Finals.
Can they win in a single elimination format?
I mean, they. Let me pull something up. But
actually, yeah,
like,
that's gonna be your big thing, because unless SendouQ go, I think in a double elimination format, I would bet on Snails. I think in a single elimination format, mistakes get magnified, because one bad mistake and you can find yourself in the cusp of elimination. And just for the record, SendouQ season finales, since 3 has ran the group stage in the top cut format. Only one of those tournaments ran double elim. The rest were all single elims.
Right. They do drop sets in tournaments occasionally. I mean, we don't really see a lot of game 7s in most events. But when they play game 5s, they kind of win them, except for that one time against Vanguard. And it's like, for me, I find it very hard to say this team it's like maybe maybe someone will beat Snails, but it's like it's I don't look at anyone else signed up and I'm like, that team's gonna beat the Gray pickup. So like in my mind, it's like it's not that they're unbeatable, it's just that they're the favorite.
I got FT winning the entire thing. The more I put a lot of it, and a lot of it I think boils down to PXG had what you had Gray, Brand. No, I am blanking on the fourth player. They're gonna slap me silly for this here in a bit. FT lost a heartbreaker in that game 7. How much do you think that will give FT a lot of fuel to try to win this upcoming one? I think the answer is yes.
For the record, the last player for PXG was Zerzi.
Yeah. Xeris, that's what Xeris is gonna. All the people that will be like, "How do you forget about Xeris?" is gonna absolutely roast me coming up. But no, in that situation, I can see how Snails can win. Part of me believes that FT1 is going to come in with the start of a lot to prove.
Yeah,
I think they should be the ones to. Personally, I think we're again thin margins. I had FT. I think I'm going to see FT try to win again.
I see no world where Snails does not get top 2.
No.
Yeah, no, there's just none.
There is no world where Snails does not get top 2 here. Now the question is it going to be Metro or FT Win to go fight them in Grands? Which one is not going to? Which one is not going to go up against Snails?
As much as all of us are coping, I think it's safe to say that it is Metro going 3rd place. Like all of us want Metro to win, but all of us agree that Metro, like it's impossible to bet against Snails FT Win in this scenario. Yeah. Looking at these 12 teams, it's that extra step above.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even looking at the SendouQ scores, like Snails 17, the only team with 1700 power, a whole 50 ahead of Vanguard, who's in 2nd. Which I mean, we did put Vanguard in 4th, but like just like that amount of power is incredible. And then again, FD Win, the longevity of the team, and again, getting over 1600 power is nothing to scoff at. So like it is just those are the 2 top teams in this tournament. I think we can all agree. No matter who we want to win, no matter what copium we have or what players we're friends with in this, it's gonna be FT Win, it's gonna be Snails in any regard, and any other team coming in the top 2 is a very, very welcome upset.
Mm-hmm. I love to see a fun upset. So wait, so I want to ask a real quick question. Fern believes in Snails. I believe in FT Win. What about you, Vapor and Hammy?
I believe
from the beginning.
I believe it's going to be a goddamn coin flip.
Gonna be a coin flip. Ooh.
I think this matchup is going to be a coin flip for grand finals. No matter what, it's going to be the last game. I'm going to call it here. Last game, whether it's game 5 or game 7, I don't know what game 7. Okay. It's going to go to a game 7. It's going to come down to an overtime push. One of these 2 teams is going to win in that. That's my call right now.
The last time they coin flipped, the Gray pickup won. I'm just saying.
I could see a coin flip leading into a Gray's pickup. This one I will easily concede on who wins. I think FT Win, especially after the previous the previous season finale. Bruh. I think what's gonna end up happening here is FT1 will probably come in with a lot to prove for this season 7 finale, especially after the heartbreak of missing out on that reverse sweep.
Whatever tails means.
Wait, no, which one's heads, which one's tails?
The coin flip without thinking who was heads or tails. It doesn't accomplish anything.
All right.
I just need to know whose heads, whose tails. I'm flipping it again.
I would say FT Win being heads.
Okay, right. and then Snails being tails. Let's flip.
Snails to tails.
Oh, it's Snails.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and also here's the thing too. Is Kyon, you asked me what my opinion was. I was the first one to state it right off rip. Yep. I said Snails is going to be number 1, FT Win number 2, Metro 3, Vanguard 4. Like like that. As much as we talked about how the top 4 is going to be difficult, that was my top 4 from the beginning.
Yeah.
Without any copium, just me looking at my opinion, like just straight up opinions and what I think is going to happen. That was easy. The top 8, top 12 was hard for me. But
I mean, look at
this one. I'll easily concede.
Basically, what I have the same thing. Like
again, it's gonna be close. There's no way that the Snails FT Win set doesn't go. It's the best of 7, so it doesn't go to like at least a game 5. It's gonna be a struggle for both teams. But you said that. Maybe because it's a single elimination format, the FD Win can take that first game, but it's a best of 7. There's enough time for Snails to adapt and get back in it. And the point that I made earlier is that it's not that, they know how to come back once they start losing and fix their mistakes. It's that they know how to clutch it out when they need to. So if it's a single elimination format, they're going to be fully aware of the stakes and they're going to clutch it out.
I fully agree with all three of you. I just wouldn't be surprised if FT Win does win it all. Although at the end, but I think you're gonna be talking about not heavy favorites. That's being too much emphasis there. I think the favorites I do expect to be Snail. I will say the thing that will help lead into what you're gonna believe here. Gray and Noah when they're in PXG start off 3-0. FT Win would win the next 3 to force the fabled game 7 reverse sweep, an actual reverse sweep almost, but then it was denied in the 11th hour in game 7. So I feel like we could see the repeat for Gray and Noah. I think though at the same time, don't be surprised if FT Win does pull off does pull it off.
Yeah. And this is also the same exact FT Win team that played in Season 6 together.
Yep.
This is literally the same exact team that is returning. They got second. There's no subs on the field for them between the two. This is literally the exact same team, and I still believe it's going to be a coin flip for first.
One other thing, Gray is back on S-Blast, and we all know he doesn't like S-Blast, but we all know how good his range blaster is, and I don't know, it's just kind of hard to vote against him. As good as I think FD Win is, I wouldn't be astounded if they won the tournament, but yeah, my pick is gonna be Snails every time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and overall, I do think that this is going to be, if not at least very close to what we'll see in final rankings. I see no doubt that if you break it down into these tiers, that any of these would change much, if at all.
I think if we look at what I think I can definitely be cool with this setup, and of course with the groups changing, I think it's safe to say these should be tiers at the moment. I will say at least the universal opinion is that the 12th team did lose to check-in from what and I'm gonna, whomever that 12th team is, you better reveal yourself here soon. But I think it's gonna be. I feel like these tiers are going to be pretty close. If the groups do change, I think it's going to be close to within the same range. I'd imagine. If anything, probably a few teams getting swapped every now and then. But I think that's to be expected.
Yeah, because realistically too, if say for example Honkai, the team that we've heard nothing from, they haven't checked in, they haven't given us a confirmation online. If they don't check in, it's going to go to the 13th seed in SendouQ Power. So. At that point, then it's is a team that's even lower down on the leaderboard going to make enough waves to get all the way to top 8? It ends up being that same story where anybody coming into this competition are going to be strong, but are they going to be able to beat out those top 6, top 8 teams that we kind of listed here?
But I honestly don't know. The only real difference I could see is Milky Way maybe sneaking into top 4 over Vanguard, but I don't really see much of a change between this.
I think the only surprise you're gonna see, I think the only swaps you can justify is your Milky Way, then either Vanguard. Could even worst case, it could be an underperformance from Metro. But that's really the only swap. I think somewhere in that top 12 range, other than the mysterious 12th team especially, there is probably gonna be one team that is gonna be destined to underperform, which that's usually just the nature of the beast for same day tournaments. That's where I think. That's kind of where I think we're only going to see the swaps is which team just underperforms the most. And you already heard my opinion on which one it could have been in the top 12 slot.
Yeah. Is there anything additional y'all have to say about these teams? Anything you want to make as just a general note heading into this event?
Right.
You go.
One quick side note, I think when you talk about we didn't really talk much about the meta. Most of these teams are, I think the winning team is most likely, if it's FT Win or Vanguard or Snails, probably going to be running like some variation of like Pencil, Splash, Slosher, S-Blast, Stamper. The other side, Metro, we're saying probably third, could win, could get second. They've been running their like trademark weapons of like Pencil, Gal, and Splash. Well, not really trademark on Splash, but a roller, and currently not a popular comp. But if you were picking 4 players to run that comp, I think there are very few. There is no one you would pick other than Atomic. Almost no one you would pick other than Zenith and Goss. Like, I kind of think that is they're probably the best at it out of anyone, and teams haven't been fighting that comp a lot recently. So like, if there is any wild card, anyone that I expect to move up 2 tiers based on how we've tiered it, it's probably Metro.
It's actually kind of interesting you mentioned the meta because you also bring up an interesting point. The way anytime I look at a matchup on paper, especially one you end up watching, is how does a team's play style vary against the other? And one team you could see big surprises from one team that could just perform better because the other team just plays a very different style that they're not accustomed to. I think when you see players get familiar with their weapons, I think weapons and where they play in their respective matches, I think that's going to be where your biggest variations are going to be.
Yeah, I do think that the biggest like differences that we could see, like Milky Way sneaking into top 4 over Vanguard, I could definitely see. Like Metro maybe sneaking into grand finals, I could see that being a possibility. But I just don't know if I can confidently say, especially with all the results that Vanguard has had recently, with all of the results that FT Win and the Snails pickup team, whatever you want to call it at this point for this event. Like, I don't know if I can confidently move them up.
I'd agree with that, yeah. I think it's like their team, Metro could definitely win, but I think it makes sense, like, numbers-wise to put them at third, and it makes sense numbers-wise to put Vanguard or SB at 4th. I think Vanguard is, like, just recent results has kind of been winning enough that, like, they deserve the spot. Yeah.
So with that though, I think we have covered pretty much everything that was on our general topic list here, I think. So teams to look out for, like, it is like those teams to look out for are always going to be those borderline teams, like especially as we noted out earlier, like. I do believe that a lot of this is going to be grouped into 3s. So I think the bottom 3 are going to stay the same. I think the top 3 are going to stay the same, but that middle 3, there is some upset potential there. could maybe sneak in up or down, but I don't know if I can confidently like move them up or down based off what I see recency.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Where a lot of those upsets are going to come from the lower part of the bracket of our tier list. Like we put Candon in 9th place. That very well could be our downfall. There is a possibility that they win a lot more games.
I was a believer over here.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not saying I'm not saying we change the power rankings. But I'm saying
I
like,
love silver.
especially in the lower part of our ranking and like in these brackets, is a lot of room for error because every single team here is hungry to win, and a lot of them have a chance at getting a good run. So the power ranking is the best we can do by looking at the numbers and going, okay, this is how we think it's going to go out. But Saturday is going to be a brawl, and that's basically all there is to it.
Listen, Silver may have terrible taste in montage music, but he is disgusting at the game. Like, there's no lie. Like, if Camden like gets upsets, I'm not gonna be surprised. Like, it's a very volatile tournament. It's so stacked. So like, if the predictions blow up, fine. I think by the numbers, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that has been our power rankings here with Broadcasting Esports every play. And if you want to make your own power rankings based off the SendouQ Season 7 finale, we will post the link onto our socials. You can find us basically anywhere at Broadcast Beep. So once we send that out, feel free to do the tier list of your own, or CKK could just send it in the wonderful chats for you all. but we will make a post shortly and have y'all reply to us with your predictions for SendouQ Season 7 finale. I would for this basically on the spot topic here, my weekly award, CKK. Why you have to put me on the spot like this? why you gotta do this to me, man? We basically just brought it up like during the show, being like, hey, what if we do this? You know what? Why not? So let's do it this way. Let's give our weekly reward over to K-Bot, sending over the raid this time around, helping us grow with that viewership. I did see that he was also streaming some commentary VOD review with Magic 8 Ball earlier. So make sure to go check that VOD out of your own. But for now, Kyon, RemixedFern, Hammy, I am Vapor with Beep, CKK on the production. Check out our socials. Don't forget to follow us anywhere at Broadcast Beep. Everyone, have a wonderful evening.